I thought it was logical that the first thing I do is to buy a gun at that age.
To buy a gun at 13?
Yeah. So then I'm ringing all of the older guys from who I know from different areas, trying to get a gun. So they know me as the football guy who just stays in the cage, innit? So they're like, what do you need a gun for? I'm like, I'm gonna start selling drugs. They're like, what drugs are you gonna start selling? So I think I was like ash, yeah, which is like the lowest drug you can sell, yeah. So then they're all laughing at me. So then that's how I got my nickname, which my nickname on the roads was Guns, yeah. But that's how I got the nickname, from all the older people laughing at me when I was trying to buy one at 13. But
How?
then I got one. I got one not long after that.
At 13 years old?
Now, older than that, 14.
14?
Yeah,
How much did
something
it
like
cost?
that. £800.
Kieron, what is one book or an autobiography that like really changed your perspective whilst you're in prison?
Perspective. So I had a certain perspective about Napoleon, and when I read his book, I understood that the perspective I've been given by the UK news, for example, every time he mentioned, was just a perspective from the UK's perspective rather than the world view of Napoleon. So reading his autobiography, that was changed my perspective a lot.
How different was the world when you had come out of prison? So what was the time period? It was 2013 to...
So call it like 2010 to late 2010 to 2023, late 2023, yeah. So in that time, what uni, so I came out on a Friday and started my masters on a Monday. So uni is the best place for me to show you how much things have changed, yeah. So imagine on one of my first day, it's all international students because I'm studying innovation management and entrepreneurship. It's like quite a niche subject. So there's lots of international students on my course. And it's like the first or second day, I'm just out of prison. But obviously all the other students don't know, we're just starting a new course. So we're walking from one class to the other. I can't get my head around the app that is connected to the course because it just looks like a maze to me, yeah? So I don't know my way around. So I'm walking with him. A bike goes past faster than the car. So I tap everyone. I'm like, the bike just went past faster than the car. There's no way he could have built up that much momentum. Do you get it, yeah? So they all just ignored me. I'm thinking, rah. So then we're going to the next class. Then I'm like, oh, wait for me. Let me go toilet because I can't read the app to get to the next class. I tell everyone, wait for me. Go in the toilet, use the toilet, go to wash my hands. The taps can't work. There's no way to work the taps. There's no button. There's nothing. I'm looking up. I'm tapping my feet. I'm pressing the sides, the mirror. I'm in there 5-10 minutes trying to work it. I had to come out of the toilet and go to a group of international master's students and say, can someone help me turn the tap on? So then you just put your hands under it. There's no, but they didn't put it on the news. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So all of these little things that I'm coming out to, they seem little, but it makes you look like an alien when you're trying to ask people about what's going on there, what's going on there. So, yeah, so many lots of little things. But electric bikes and taps that you just put your hands on, though.
Yeah, the little
Some
hand
of the things.
sensors. Yes, the little
Down there.
things like I would never have picked up on something like
Yeah,
that.
no one
Just the
wanted to
little...
be no one wanted to be in my group. So when we get to class now and the teacher's putting you in groups, like you lot go, no one wants to be in my group because they're like, this idiot who was born here doesn't even know an electric bike or how to use the taps. So I don't want to be in his group. It's going to slow us down.
Damn, that's crazy. Kieron, let's roll back the years. I want to understand the context of your adolescence. So kind of, what was your childhood like when you were growing up?
Um, I had a normal childhood. I lived with my mum and my stepdad and my siblings. Um, I can't really. I lived in Manchester, in Birmingham, then in London, then in Hertfordshire. So I can't really blame my wrong decisions on my upbringing per se, because I'm a person who, like many of my friends, was very polite. Go home, pull up my trousers, tuck my jewelry in, don't swear, um, and be very polite around my parents and kind of stuff, and around other people's parents. Where I had friends who were effing and blinding and didn't get in trouble, but they was rude to parents, rude to other people. So I can't really blame it on my upbringing. As you alluded to when we was talking before we started filming, them key ages of like your early adolescence, 12 to 15, 16, and them ages, I more um attach my mentality that I had, I more attach it to that, if that makes sense. My the environment I was in, school friends and all of that kind of um surrounding, that shapes my mentality and how I thought about things, as well as the movies and the stereotypes that portrayed in them kind of things as well. So all of that gave me a mentality that was counterproductive, but very common within my peers.
Counterproductive in what sense?
In terms of thinking that being a outlaw, rebelling, going against the grain, that natural energy you have as a teenager, um, not channeling that in a way that was counterproductive. So instead of so I can guess that if you had the resources and capabilities to go traveling, backpacking through some dangerous woods like people do on their gap year, jump out of planes and that kind of stuff. I think that you're using up that fearless, don't believe no one, don't believe anything, I've got to do it all myself energy that you have at that in that time period. And I think that if you're from a certain environment and have a certain mentality, that energy is going to be used shooting guns on the street and running around chasing people with knives and that kind of stuff. It's not going to be channeled in the right way. And I think that was one of the traps that I fell into.
So growing up, like we were talking before, like you love playing football. So you did have hobbies like outside of school and stuff.
Yeah.
You were like keeping yourself occupied in your free time. How did you start to go down a path of like criminal activity?
So I was eat, breathing, sleeping, and defecating football, as you was probably doing at one stage. And I was just with my friend's parents one time around the table eating some lunch after a football game. We had a good football game that day. He went to the toilet and his parents asked me, what are you going to be when you grow up? At 13 at the time or something, 13, 14. And I said a footballer, obviously. They started belly rolling laughing. So I'm thinking, how come you lot are laughing? He wants to be a footballer as well, talking about their son. So they're like, oh, we have our own business and he's going to university. When he graduates, we're going to give him the business because he might not make it as a footballer because everyone your age wants to be a footballer. So what's your backup plan? So at that time, naive and having that kind of mentality that a lot of people around me had, at that time I thought my only escape route was hustling or football. If I don't do it in one of them things, I'm not going to do anything. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So when they said to me, have a backup plan, I'm thinking, well, everyone else that I see successful around me is hustling. So that must be what I have to do as my backup plan. And I left that house there. And then I think it was a week later or something, I printed some flyers at the school. And it was like for a five-a-side tournament, you could have 7 people in your team, £2 per person. And I think I put on the flyer like £150 prize money. So this is like in 03 or something. So
Right. You're 13 and you did that.
yeah, 13 or 14. So I went to school, printed the flyers, Then because you know when you're playing for district and county and all, and your school team, you can leave school early to go play football matches. So that when I printed the flyers in IT, I went to every teacher that week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I told them, oh, I've got to finish early. I've got a football match, and just went to the other school before it finished and handed out the flyers. So I done that all week. The tournament was on the Saturday. I went to the youth club owner, asked, can I use the football goals? So she said yes. So I set up the football goals, got my friend's older brother to be the referee, and then I didn't know all the kids was gonna come with their parents. Everyone come with their parents. I went to a girl who worked in Tesco. I said, whatever you get for me from Tesco, I'll give you double the money. So if you spend £30, get me some drinks, cans, and like a barbecue thing that you can barbecue some burgers on. If you spend 30, I'll give you 60 back. So I think she spent like £40 or something like that. So we had the drinks and crisps and that kind of stuff. So everyone come for the tournament, and obviously I had the best team because we knew the best players from every position in the five-a-side tournament. So we won the tournament. Think we made like 400 or £500 or something like that. And then
That's a lot of money at 13.
yeah, and that's the money I used to buy my first drugs and stuff, consignment of drugs and that, and then started hustling from there. But I wasn't around the type of people. No one knew I'd done that. So all the parents thought the youth club set up, and the youth club, she was just worried about something to do with us putting the gates at the side of the thing so the ball can't go far away. Someone tripping on that. So in hindsight, I don't think no one really knew that I organized it and set it all up, because I always think, how come no one pulled you aside and says, yeah, this hustling road or something you're thinking to go down, you don't even need to do it if you can arrange something like this at that age. But at that time, I didn't even think that was anything good. I already won the tournament in my head when I was planning everything to get the money to be able to buy some drugs to sell. So it was just, I was not looking at the steps of the process, just the outcome.
That is seriously entrepreneurial at 13 years old.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't know
That
what
is,
that word meant until I was in prison.
yeah, £500 is a lot for a 13-year-old.
No, I had to share it with my other teammates, yeah, and then but I had the most change because I had the stuff from the drinks and stuff.
At what point did it escalate? So it's one thing like selling weed on the roads.
Immediately, but that is, when I say immediately, I think that might be more my fault. I reckon it escalated immediately because of the way I think, yeah. Because I thought it was logical that the first thing I do is to buy a gun at that age.
To buy a gun at 13.
Yeah. So then I'm ringing all of the older guys from who I know from different areas, trying to get a gun. So they know me as the football guy who just stays in the cage, innit? So they're like, what do you need a gun for? I'm like, I'm gonna start selling drugs. They're like, what drugs are you gonna start selling? So I think I was like ash, yeah, which is like the lowest drug you can sell, yeah. So then they're all laughing at me. So then that's how I got my nickname, which my nickname on the roads was Guns, yeah. But that's how I got the nickname, from all the older people laughing at me when I was trying to buy one at 13. But then I got one. I got one not long after that.
At 13 years old?
Now, older than that, 14.
14?
Yeah.
How much did it
like
cost?
£800.
And it was a pistol?
It was like, we're on camera, yeah, but it was like a James Bond thing, yeah. No word of a lie, you might not even believe that. It was like that shape, yeah, on the keyring. You pull the keyring thing back. Do you believe me?
Yeah.
You pull the keyring back, these two buttons pop up, and then you've got something called a deuce deuce. And even if a police officer could stop you with it on your keyrings and not know what it is. It's
So
the first one I got.
But it was that easy to buy one? It was literally just a
No,
phone
it
call.
wasn't that easy. I was so persistent, yeah, that in the end, I got it out of like, this person is not going to leave me alone kind of thing. That's how I got it.
I'm guessing your parents had no idea about this
Nah,
and the drugs.
nah.
So at what point did it really start to escalate from that point, like kind of from 15 to 20? Kind of what was that journey like? You're walking around with a gun, you've got drugs on you.
Um, it, just like you can imagine, like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Everything you can possibly imagine happening just happens every day. So one of the things that since I've come out, I've realized is, in that you see when you're living that type of life, you know the adrenaline rush that everyone gets when you're doing different type of things. I've noticed this when I'm looking at my friends that are still involved in that type of life, yeah. And how come it's so hard for them to step away, yeah. When you're in prison or when you're on the roads there, you have to be on, like, alert 24/7, yeah? So that heightens your adrenaline. Then when you've got a gun or something on you, that just immediate prison, that heightens your thing. And then when it's always life or death, that heightens your adrenaline. So imagine you're living that 24/7 for, like, from 13 to 20, before 13 to 17 or something, before you even sit down. Do you get it? So when I was first went jail when I was 17, and I put The Simpsons on the TV, this is the first time since I made the decision to go on the roads. When I sat down in prison for the first time and put on The Simpsons, this is the first time I've consciously rested and switched off for a second. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So from I made that decision till then, I remember when I first sat down. So it's just like, it's hard to explain when you say when did it escalate. It's just how it was. It's just immediate, straight. I was using my gun as the goal. You know when you set up to, you put your jumper there and thing.
Football goal.
Yeah, as the goalpost. Do you get it? So put a jumper there, put my gun there, and then play football with my mates and that, and then get up and go because I still love football. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's just like a transition that you just adapt to straight away. And I was just had that mentality because obviously none of my friend group or anyone older saw the reason why would you be buying a gun when I thought why you can't enter this world without one, innit? That's what everything says. You wouldn't enter that world without. So you see, my way of thinking was kind of different to everyone around me, but I didn't let that dissuade me. I still went down that road, if that makes sense. But the point is, all of that could be channeled in a positive direction when it wasn't at that time.
What was your mental health like in that period? Because I imagine carrying a gun and drugs at that age, you got two things to worry about. Number one, the police catching you with either the drugs or the gun.
Yeah.
And then number two is rival gang people.
Have you heard of the concept? Have you ever heard of people not believing in mental health? Have you heard of that?
Well, it can be brushed under the carpet. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I asked you that question thinking, can you even comprehend what I'm going to tell you? Yeah. My family's Jamaican, and this is not to make my mum sound bad or anything like that, yeah. But this is not just true for me. This is true for a whole generation of people, yeah. If I was to tell my mum, yeah, say I went to school, yeah, and they said, you've got something called ADHD, yeah, and then I went home and tell my mum, they said I've got ADHD or something like that. My mum's response, come, I'll beat it out of you immediately right now. Just come here, bring a belt as well. Bring a belt and I'll beat it out of you right now. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So imagine that I'd never ever believed in mental health or that kind of thing. I think that I don't know I don't know if it's been studied more, so it's more people understand it, or it's been talked about more and more people jump on the bandwagon. But I never had no concept of mental health at that time. But I guess that what I was talking about when I was talking to you about that heightened state of adrenaline stays, you're with it 24/7, so it never goes down. Yeah. So even with me, I never felt it going down until I'm out of prison and I'm just chilling with my family doing nothing. And then I'm feeling, what is this feeling? So I'm just chilling with my family doing nothing. And I'm like, what is this feeling? This doesn't feel normal to me. This is abnormal to me. Something feels weird. I feel off. And that is just me being with no adrenaline, just being out, but just with a normal thing. But I've never experienced that before till I've done the 13 years. So think from 13 till 35, I didn't know what that felt like. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it was kind of crazy.
So what was the pinnacle of all of this just before you went to prison? What was the crime?
It was attempted murder. So what happened with that situation is, to put it short, but you can ask any questions to go into detail if you want. I'm going to meet someone, and because we're having an argument, so I've arranged to go meet them. I've gone to go meet them. They come out with a bulletproof vest and a shotgun, and then they got shot in that situation.
Was that with the first gun you had at kind of 14, or was this?
No,
You
this happened when I was about 20.
20.
Yeah, just about to turn 21 or something. So that's the one I got the 25 years for, and I've been released at the end of 2023.
Did you get caught immediately by the police?
And no, I was walking down the street, and then the police officer, female police officer, pulled up next to me, and she looked out the window. She asked a trick question. She said, "Have you got your gun on you?" Do you get it? What do you say to that answer?
No.
But that means, so where is it then? Do you get it? It's got a presupposition in there. There's no correct answer. Do you get it?
Yeah.
But I did say no, and they're like, well, wait there. And then all jumped out, started coming from different places and that. Yeah.
Jesus.
But that's what she said to me. She rolled up next to me. I'm walking down the street, and my machine is just there, and she's saying to me, "Have you got your gun on you?" A police officer out the window. That's crazy.
So you shot him. He didn't die. Was this because
He
of
had
a
a bulletproof vest, yeah.
bulletproof vest? How long is it from you shooting him until you go into prison?
Straight away.
Straight away, immediately.
Yeah.
Whereabouts did you go to prison?
Strange in Manchester. So the shooting happened in Manchester. I had a case in London, so I was banned from London and I was banned from Hertfordshire. So I had to sign on at the police station. Yeah. So then I think that sign on the police station like every morning, yeah. Then go to London every day from Manchester, yeah. So I used to go sign on with my gun on me because of the area that the police station is, and just because I'm in a rush, and they just make you sign this thing and then walk out the police station, innit? Do you get it? So I've gone to sign on, then I've left the police station, but I didn't bring my machine with me that day because I just done a mad thing in the morning. So yeah, so that's what happened. So that was like the next day when I went to sign on or something, or later on in the day when I went to sign on.
Up until that moment, did you ever believe you actually have a capacity to pull the trigger at a human being? Did you ever think that day would arrive?
I feel like that it's not the way you're looking at it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I feel like I don't look at it the way you look at it, yeah? And I might be wrong, and I might be making excuses for myself, yeah? But I look at it like this. In my sentencing, the judge said I could give you a life sentence or I could give you a determinate sentence, yeah? So I'm going to give you a determinate sentence because I only think you're dangerous to other criminals, not to the general public, yeah? So the capacity to do something to another criminal that's trying to do it to me, I don't think it takes as much as you think it says or the question asks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's
So
in that world. Me, I am as harmless as anyone to a guy at work, to a normal lady crossing the street. I've never done these phones and handbags and all of these kind of things. That wasn't my trajectory. My thing is, in this world, these are the rules in this world. So if the roads is a computer game, in this computer game, these are the rules. So I was in that computer game playing the rules. Do you get it? Once I'm out of it, I'm just normal. Do you get what I'm trying to? Does that make sense? So within that world, yeah, I didn't have a problem with it. But maybe that's an excuse. But I reckon if you went into that computer game, even though I might be not to belittle the seriousness of it, but that's how the mentality is. When them you see these kids running around with zombie knives and all that kind of stuff, doing stuff on camera and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've been there and I know their mentality. Not running around with things, but just not thinking you're a part of the normal running of stuff. Yeah. So I liken them to. Do you know the African war kids? Have you heard of that?
African war kids.
Yeah.
No.
Child soldiers. Have you heard of this?
No.
So what these tribes will do, yeah, they would go to a sorry about this. Oh, it's a podcast as well.
Go
So
for it. It's
you'll
interesting.
love it. They would go to a different tribe, kill all of the parents in front of the kids, and then take the kids and then tell them kids, your parents are lying to you. They're fake. They're not serious. This is why this happened. We're the ones that think. And you can imagine how you could brainwash a kid in that situation. Yeah. You see, when they go to the next village, they let the kids kill all the parents of the next kids. Does that make sense? Now, I wouldn't ask that kid, why has he got the capacity to do what he's doing? Because I can understand his mentality's been shaped that way. Yeah? And I'm saying to you, when I see these kids on the news and they're doing these things, I look at them the same. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Obviously, they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. They need changing. They need to come out of that thing. But you can't just get one of them in the room and sit them down and say, what are you doing? You're being naughty. Don't do that. Do you get it? Because it's something way deeper than that. That is about their environment and their how they see the world and how they see themselves fitting into the world.
Yeah, I hear that. In life, there are different games people play. There's games played at the multinational, multi-billion pound company mark where top CEOs are in the pockets of politicians giving them money. Now, it's essentially corruption. And if you're a competitor against that business, if you're not playing that dirty game alongside your competitor, you're going to lose out. So I think that's kind of a logic which you're talking about when it comes to carrying a gun and firing it is you're in this world where if you're not carrying it, you're the people who your so-called competitors, they'll arm to the teeth. So I think that's kind of what you're.
Yeah, and that's honestly how I look at it, because even though I see myself as harmless, even though that might seem ridiculous, but if I look at a general, and if you've read some books, you know generals have decisions where they say, send 10,000 men in, we're gonna lose 8,000, but they're gonna send everyone to the front of that battle arena, and then we're gonna go around the back and get them there. Yeah. Now, do you have the capacity to make that call?
Yeah.
You have it. Do you?
No.
Well, I'm saying that general can do that like nothing. Yep, send them in. We're gonna lose 8,000 out of 10, but we will win that thing. Yeah. And I'm saying, I shudder at that decision. I don't shudder at the decision. This guy has got a gun. We're drug dealers on the street, and he's trying to shoot me. That's not a big decision to me. That's life preservation. The army general, for me, I'm looking at him like, whew, do you get what I'm trying to say? Does that make sense?
How rife are guns in the UK?
In that world, it's like I remember Imagine selling drugs for 10 years at a high quantity or even a low quantity and it never being unavailable. Yeah, so it's illegal, but when you ring one person, he doesn't have it, you ring the next person, he's got it in a big amount. So it's the same as the drugs and the guns. They're easy to get. It's easy to get drugs in prison. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's easy. I've been on wings where when you move prisons, yeah, you've got something called a pin that you put into the phone, and that identifies that's you using it and how much credit you got. Yeah, so that's your pin. You might move to a prison and you need a new pin to get your credit. Yeah, you can go to a prison and it's easier to buy a phone for £3,000, like a mobile smartphone for £3,000, than it is to get your pin off the officer whose job it is to give it to you. So you're waiting for your pin for 3 days, but on the first day, 3 people are offering you phones. And that's how you've got to look at them things it's not, in criminals don't say, is it hard to get a gun in the UK? There's no criminals say that to each other. You get what I'm trying to say? Because in that world, on that computer game, they're abundant.
Yeah. Kieron, I heard you in a previous interview say that prison is the best networking for criminals. How did you stay out of that environment? Because 13 years is a long time. You got a decision to make. You know, when you come out of that sentence, you could probably get back onto the streets and earn some quick cash and put a roof over your head tomorrow. How did you?
I'll tell you a funny story. There was a prisoner, yeah, and you're on parole, innit, which means you have to do good behavior to get out, yeah. So he's gone for a parole meeting, and we're in Whitemore or something, and he's not even trying to get parole. He's trying to get recategorized from an A cat to a B cat, but he's still got to go to the board. So he's gone to the parole board, or whatever board is trying to decategorize him or lower categorize him, and they're saying to him, we can't lower your category because you've been hanging around with drug dealers and murderers in the prison. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. And they were his friends. They're talking about his friends in the prison. Yeah. And another guy, they would say to a guy, you have to socialize. You can't isolate yourself because it's making you look like you're in there planning some mad stuff. So the point I'm trying to make to you is there's no keeping yourself outside the environment in prison. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You're in the prison. You can't, there's no way out. You have to have a certain mentality that you're not really influenced by your peers and individuals, like
You don't give in to peer pressure.
in that kind of way. And that's similar to what I was telling you. On my first step out onto the roads, all my friends and everyone I look up to is laughing at me saying, why do you need a gun to do what you're doing? It doesn't make any sense. Within a few months of that, I had a Audi TT, a DNA bike, and the jewelry that I have, and the gun. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And that means I overtook lots of people that was telling me that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. Them same people I was ringing for the things, I was already past them. So when I'm in prison and I'm coming back from the library with a pile of books and they're laughing at me saying, oh, what are you going to do? You're not going to read all them books. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I used to say to them, I see every book as £1,000,000. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So the more books that I come back from the library with, I'm thinking that each one is going to help me make $1 million. Do you get it? So when you're laughing at me, remember that's what I'm thinking. So in that situation, I don't think anyone could. There's no legs to keep teasing or bullying or that kind of thing, and I was still me, innit? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So just because I'm trying to educate myself and that kind of stuff, I never switched off in a way that would let me get victimized or something like that. Would make my time harder.
You strike me as someone with a personality who you're very sure in your own skin, and you're not easily peer pressured.
Yeah. I think that would. I think I agree with that because from an early age, I was always trying to take the blame off my peers in terms of social workers and police and different situations where they would be telling me who's peer pressuring you, what happened with this, and I'm like, I literally made all of these decisions on my own. No one even swayed me, or do you get what I'm trying to say? Because I know how my train of thought to come to that decision, and nothing they were doing or saying influenced it in that way direction, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I definitely agree with that. And um, one thing that I feel guilty about is that when I look at the people who have come out of prison and transitioned, yeah, they are people who you could say were leaders and have led a lot of people down that road. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So imagine you're a leader, you lead 30 people down the road of hustling, etc., etc. The stuff holding them in that area, um, the attributes holding them in that area is to do with them not having attributes of a leader, so they're not coming out of that thing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like I have to be. I don't feel anything when if someone opens my flap and like, look at this guy in there reading. It doesn't feel like an insult to me. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Where to my friends, I know that they take that as an insult, and I don't know how you can that comes with not letting that kind of thinking influence your decisions. So guys wouldn't want to get books from the library because they don't want no one looking at them or thinking they're soft or that or they don't want to come out and make the transition because people might say, oh, prison made you soft or you're scared of the police and these kind of things, which I think are stupid reasons, but that are some of the reasons that are holding people in that old mindset.
Speaking of role models, like aspirations and dreams, you mentioned at the start of this interview that your mate's mum and dad laughed at you when you were vulnerable and you told them that your dream is to be a footballer. You were
I
13
don't want to
years.
make them sound bad because I know they was trying to help me, and they would literally be horrified if they heard this story, if they knew that's what led that good kid. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I'm not insinuating that the parents saying that at 13 years old led to the next 8 years of
Yeah.
whatever happened, but it is an important point about older people, I feel, who put a cap or like a ceiling on younger people. I think it's almost good to have young people a bit delusional.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the statistics of
yeah.
you becoming a Premier League footballer is like 0.001%.
But
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 why not believe it when you're
but
13?
you had to be eat, sleeping, and thinking it. So the kids that are gonna make it, like my nephew plays for Chelsea, yeah, and the way his parents go to every single match and they like shape their lives around his football. Where my thing was that my mum only came to the finals because she's working. The person who took me to lots of games and stuff was my PE teacher, who used to come to meet me on weekends and drive me to different places that at that age I didn't even know about petrol and all of these kind of things. I just thought, oh, so someone's got to take me. There's no one else available. I didn't even comprehend how much out of his way he
It's a big
was going in
commitment.
it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So but the point I'm making is that that kind of wraparound support that you need wasn't available to me, so it wasn't something I think I was destined for me.
I think for most people, it sounds pretty unbelievable what you're doing now, based on the last like 20 minutes of what you just shared. Uh, you're thinking of embarking on a PhD, releasing a book self-published. You have multiple businesses. Um, talk to me what's exciting in your life right now? What gets you excited when you wake up?
Um, just imagine sitting in prison and imagining a life you want to carve out for yourself, and then and because I'd done 16 years altogether, I'd done 3 years, came out for a little while, then went back and done 13 years, so altogether 16 years. And in that sentence, I'm imagining the things that I want to be doing and want to be achieving, and then I've got out and I've done it all within a year or something, when I'm thinking it was my lifetime stuff. So all the stuff I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, I kind of done it all in the first years, like in the first year where I'm like in the situations where I thought it's going to take me 10, 15 years to get into. So that's what I'm loving about life at the moment.
It's so interesting. The entrepreneurship journey started when you were 13 years old, raising 500 quid at 13 from a football tournament.
Yeah.
And then everything you went through, you come out the other side. You got a master, you went to university and you studied innovation,
Yeah, so I'd
entrepreneurship.
done my degree whilst I was in prison. I'd done that in business management. And then when I was released, I'd done a master's in innovation management and entrepreneurship, which is like the carry on from a
So
business.
3 days after being released, you enrolled into a master's.
Yeah.
What type of businesses did you set up?
Okay, so whilst I was locked up, I was doing my business degree. I was talking to my business partner and my sister and that at the time, and they're all in childcare. So they wanted to set up a nursery, but obviously I couldn't set up a nursery from prison. But I wanted to basically implement the stuff I'm learning in my business degree and see if it actually works in the real world. So what I came up with is trying to become the Oscars of nurseries. So what I said to them we'll do is we'll go to nurseries, pretend we're a client. Well, I'm in prison. So what they're going to do is go to nurseries, pretend they want to go to the nursery and give it a grade. And then we're going to grade every nursery in the UK, upload the grading to our website. And then when people are in a new area and they've got 2 nurseries on their doorstep, they don't have to check the Ofsted report, which is basically saying that they meet the criteria to be open, but it's not necessarily going to tell you why to pick that nursery over that nursery. Or you could look at what the nursery says about themselves, which is obviously going to be biased. So we're providing a different perspective in that we're not stakeholders like the Ofsted, and we got to grade them. We've got to pass them in the criterias to be open. We're just coming from a parent's perspective of why we think that nursery is better than that nursery, for example. So upload the files, and we'll be the Oscars of nursery. So that's the proposition I brought to them. And I said maybe in 5 years people will ask us to open nurseries, and people will be asking to get our sticker on the window, etc., etc. So I was doing that. We was doing that, and we started the business. And what I expected to happen in 5-10 years happened straight away, in terms of people asking us, "Can you help us with this?" So it basically, we thought we was gonna make money from advertising on the website, but it basically morphed into a consultancy business where we was basically helping people open their nursery, helping them with their Ofsted paperwork, their bespoke paperwork, hiring all their staff, training all their staff, setting up the nursery, and basically getting it up and running, and handing it over to a staff member that we've trained and hired who's Ofsted registered. And that's it. Then we move on to setting up another nursery, move on to setting up another nursery. So that's the business I set up whilst I was in prison. It's a website. So once I set up the website, which basically is a service, we're providing the service, I then needed a product to try and check out how a product works on the website. So then I wrote a book whilst in prison that teaches kids how to play chess in the nursery rhyme, in a story nursery rhyme. So they think they're just listening to a story, but basically they're learning the fundamentals of chess. So we put that on the website as a product. And then at that time, I was learning all about blockchain technology and that kind of thing. So then I used the characters from the books, from the book, which teaches kids to play chess, because all the pieces are personified. So they're like little characters. And I sold them as NFTs on OpenSea. So I was the first person in the world to publish a book and sell the characters as NFTs and I was in prison. So there's some of the businesses I started whilst I was in prison.
That is so nuts that you learned about NFTs and blockchain before you knew how a sensor on a hand wash worked.
I know, can you believe that?
That's incredible.
Can you believe that? And there's even lots of more stuff worse than that as well, because I'm like a kid when it comes to real life, innit? Because I'm just experiencing real life for the first time, because you really are in a different world when you're thinking and moving like that. And then so that business was going okay. So then I came out and then I started a CIC with my mum, which basically is a kind of sister organization to my nursery business, because the CIC has bouncy castles and all that kind of equipment you would need for a kid's birthday party or a nursery opening day. You know, like you invite everyone to the area, say you got a new nursery open and that kind of thing. So I've got a business that runs birthday parties and kids events. And basically how we run that as a CIC is we do the parties for basically affluent parents, and use the profits of that to go to get referrals from food banks, and the parents of the kids that go to food banks can get a free birthday party, like a massive with all the bouncy castles and that kind of stuff. But we get our referrals from the food banks, and that's how we run
Incredible.
the CIC.
You do that with
And
your mum.
yeah, do that business with my mum.
Can your mum believe that she's doing this with her son after everything you've gone through?
Yeah, I think that, like, because one of the hardest things about the transition, which I didn't even see coming before I got out, was no one believes you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So the people who you would expect to believe you that you're being serious, no one believes you. And then I think I was like giving, like, because giving a speech at the House of Lords or something like that, and moaning to my mum about people not believing me and not helping me with certain things and that. And she said to me, "Son, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, when I was in Jamaica, because she lives in Jamaica, so she just comes over to visit me, and you're on the phone telling me about this business degree and all of these kind of things. Yeah, I believe you, but like, when I come here and I see it with my own eyes, I believe you on a different, like, kind of thing, yeah? So if I'm your mum and that's the case, then don't be mad at anyone else. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because even me, it's like kind of shocking and like hard to believe, and I'm your mum. Do you get it? So when she said that to me, it was kind of more easier for me to accept that you're literally, no one really believes you, and everyone thinks that you're just like playing a game or something, that kind of thing. Like, so for example, you've got a parole sentence where you have to go out for parole, but I'm not on the parole sentence. I'm on a normal straight release sentence. Yeah. So parole, you have to be on your best behavior to be able to get released. So that's all the other prisoners think I'm on a parole sentence when they see me reading and doing the books and all that kind of stuff. But I wasn't even on a parole sentence. I was on a normal sentence. So yeah.
And I read that you're also associated with Men with Purpose, or
Yeah, Men
Men
of
of
Purpose.
Purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
So that's the organization that I met. You know, when I said I was reading about different orators and that kind of stuff, and saying that obviously that's a skill I need to leave prison already with. And these different, what I used to do is go through this book called The Hard Man Directory and invite different people in from different charitable organizations that have set up to help prisoners or prison leavers. So I'd invite them into the prison to give a speech about their organization, how they can help, and I would also give a speech. And during one of them events, Lord Hastings was already coming into Swellside prison, it was. And then I met him there, and basically he's got all Men of Purpose organization. There's no official paperwork or introduction or anything, but how I read it from my perspective, it's like a group of people who are being role models for the same kids that I said when I looked up and I only saw different hustlers or sports stars or musicians that look like me doing different that are successful, they're a group of people who are doing different things in it. So you've got a guy who's in F1 engineer, you've got a guy who owns a aeroplane parts business, you've got a guy who's the vice president of Citibank. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You've got a guy who's got a food company called Jim Kitchen. So these are all different types of role models that that people from our background can look up to and aspire to be like, rather than the stereotypes of drug dealers and rappers and that kind of thing. The organization also goes out of their way to support each other in growth. So I think that a university fraternity, based on what I've read about a university fraternity, have you heard about them, how they work?
The networks.
The networks that you can always go back to, and they always got to say yes to help you with that kind of thing. I think that's a similar thing to that. So that's how I look at the Men of Purpose. So being a part of that is like a back brace to me. It's like something I can always fall back on, go and ask advice, go and ask for help. So it's definitely
That's amazing. So you got the impact piece, and then you got the business piece, and then you got the educational piece with the undergraduate, the masters, and then potentially a PhD in blockchain.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, Kieron.
Oh, thank you.
Kieron, we'll wrap it up there. I'd love to get you on for round 2 when you kicked off your PhD. You can teach me a bit about blockchain.
Definitely, no problem.
But it's been a real pleasure. I'll put a link to your businesses down below.
Yeah, thank you.
And also the chess book.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the chess book. I need to check it out. Sounds awesome.
It's been a good talk. Let's start this five-a-side football team as well.
Yeah, we'll see how many goals we can bang in.
Let's do